and we're on to our next um, presentation at Pagan World Council. We only have three more to go. This one is amazing. People have been waiting for it. It's Louie Martinie. Uh, I always butcher names, so sorry about that. And he's going to bring us some of the New Orleans energy. I've known him for a very long time. Very strong New Orleans energies. And more importantly, community focused activity. And we're so glad to have him present his ideas around the idea of initiation in times of tension. If that has got to be really useful to all of us. So
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to be talking about, of course, initiation in terms of the present context we're in. Now, I've got some age on me. So I remember the 60s in the United States of America. That was an entirely different context than we have now. So in terms of our present context, and then I'm going to be doing some drumming and some calls that is an example of the Loa or spirits in our tradition and how they can speak to this present context. First, though, in terms of our tradition, what we do is honor the ancestors. Now, who the hell are the ancestors? I mean, people usually go like, well, they're my aunt, my uncle, my this, my that. I don't know. It could be much bigger than that. It could be that we're composed of everything around us, all the beings around us, all the animals, all the insects, everything. Everything has gone into making us who we are. And when we honor the ancestors, we honor not only Homo sapiens, but all the animals, all the insects, all the microbes. They're all a part of what made us who we are. And right before I got on, I was just looking at Facebook, and a friend wrote and said, our biggest duty is to become good ancestors to those who come after us. So this is the ritual that we do to honor the ancestors. Just a glass of water, plain water. And I like to do it before I wake up, before I get coffee in the morning. First thing I do. Make a crossroads in the air. I'm making a crossroads in the air. Moving the water to the center of the crossroads and tossing it a little bit. When it leaves my hand, that's when it goes into the land of the invisibles. That's when it goes into the land of the ancestors, of all the people, all the animals, all the insects that brought me and everyone else here forth. And I'm going to go to those whose names are remembered. Now for me, Louis, Charlotte, Nia, Prince, Kelly, Meg, and pour a little bit of water. Just a little bit, yeah. All those names that are forgotten, lost in the seas of time. Now, hear any name that comes through us. You say, Nele pa soto ete tutu. To all those whose bones lie upon and within this land. Here you've got, first thing that comes to mind is the deer. A beautiful deer. Yeah. To you. To you. Okay. Then to you from the living. And a little bit for the land spirits. That's important too. The land spirits are so important. So, for about me, I've been with the Voodoo Spiritual Temple in New Orleans for 30 years as a drummer, an elder, and a spiritual doctor. And as a day job that I love, publishing, Black Moon Publishing, that is 49 years. And in terms of initiation, Judith Page, I did she's got a book coming out. She's a London author. I think it has just come out. and it's on initiation, and I did the foreword and did an article for it. Now, as I say this, you know, you say it so that people think that maybe what you're going to be talking about, you've got a little bit of knowledge about. You could hold it that way, which is cool, or you could hold it as, Lord, man, he is probably really stuck in the past. How can he speak to what's going on now? And I think they're both right there in terms of my knowledge and what I can do. Yeah, just that we're all in this together, and I want to share a little bit of my experience. New Orleans voodoo, just not an introduction, but just one facet that I find very interesting in terms of a Congress such as this is that our tradition, in many ways, goes back to and is uh, largely based upon the market in New Orleans in the 1800s. And in this market, you had Marie Laveau, who was great practitioner, great practitioner. And in terms of folklore, Dr. John played the drums. You had the market, then you had dances. This was Sundays. And it was a meeting of African Americans. That's primary. That is primary, absolutely primary. Whites who would attend, particularly poor Irish, particularly the poor Irish would be there at the market. And in terms of First Peoples, the Homa tribe. So you had what academics tend to call a triracial aggregate coming together. And a lot of the understandings, a lot of the ceremonies, a lot of the rituals that are part of New Orleans voodoo are a result of this triracial aggregate of coming together in that way. 1800, that was a long time ago. Okay, 1990, I believe it was, but in the 1990s, I was on Congo Square, and there was the priestess who was black. It's Mambo Miriam. There was me, yeah, except poor white. It's not the best term, but I'll accept it. Poor white. And there was a roadman from a tribe in Canada that went all the way down the country to New Orleans and finally settled there for a year or two. And there's this picture of the three of us in ceremony, in our regalia on Congo Square working together. And if you're in New Orleans, go to the New Orleans Voodoo Spiritual Temple, the Voodoo Spiritual Temple. And there's an example of that. That picture is up in the window. So that's something that I think is unique and important. Okay. Initiation in general. I think it can happen on a personal level or a group level. I remember looking out at the ocean, and the spirit of the ocean just came into me. It's a personal thing. It's a personal initiation. And I also remember being in a group and the words spoken by the priestess just came into me and changed me. And I like initiation as a verb. It's not something that happens and you got it, that's it. It's a verb. It's an ongoing process. So I like to think of it as a shift in awareness that allows one to live in a more complete world, a world that embraces, is more embracing. And the purpose in terms of this time right now, I can see one of the major purposes is to act as an antidote. I think that word's important. Antidote. Act as an antidote to the present tension-filled cultural and political state the growth of intolerance and authoritarianism. An antidote to that, something that you can do, something that you can give as a group, as a group. Now we have our own initiations. Every group out there has their own initiations and rites. It occurs to me that's a little bit broader than that, and rituals. The question that I ask myself, and it may be important, may be very important in terms of this time, is what deities in my pantheon speak to these times? What deities really speak to these times? And to emphasize and offer connection through initiation, through ritual, with those deities. That there was a time, I mean, as an example, say the plagues that hit Europe and other parts of the world, the Black Death. That's an entirely different, I believe, set of tensions, and would require a different kind of ritual, a different kind of deities, or different type of deities being called, say, healing, bodily healing deities, protective deities from the disease, as opposed to now. What deities are needed now? Yeah, the tension, the friends, the people I love who are doom scrolling, and in doing so, put themselves in a state of tension, and in a certain way align themselves with that tension and to the transmission of that tension. So you wouldn't need now, as before, in terms of the times, that healing, that bodily healing, so much as a mental, emotional, spiritual healing. And in a little bit, what I'll do is do some drum rhythms and some calls that will show, in our tradition, what these deities, or we call them Loa, are, that could be of benefit right now. Effect? To reduce the tension. To reduce that tension that you get when you turn, that I get, that I get at times when I wake up, turn on the news and go, oh my God, look at that. Look at that. To reduce that, to offer an antidote to that tension. Now, for me, it's going to the Loa in our system in New Orleans voodoo, and in Dzogchen, the practice of Dzogchen too, which is a kind of Tibetan Buddhism. Going to that as an antidote, because I don't want to add to the tension. I want to create a safe space, to create a space in which one can experience the joy of life, and to bring that into a confrontation with, a working with, opposing the tension, pushing away that tension, opposing it, not ignoring it, but not coming from the same space, the same kind of intolerance, the same kind of I am right, you are wrong, that in many ways generates that tension. Initiations, the kind I'm talking about, I believe, will be individual, very individual. And in terms of the deities, again, in terms of the deities of of your and my particular traditions, I would really talk to a person and see what they want, see what is bothering them, and see if it's on this societal level. And it can be like an individual, talking to an individual, or it can be talking to a group, one or the other. Okay, that is a lot of what I have to say. And let's see. I am going to see if there's anything in the chat. Okay.
So I've gotten one question through my messenger. They were asking, and they wanted to know what about New Orleans right now. Are you guys seeing the sort of energy that we're seeing in some other parts of the country with the negatives, with ICE coming through? How's that sort of thing? Is your community reacting to that?
We're not seeing it on the level Chicago is.
Mm-hmm.
We're not seeing, and this is very important. We're not seeing it on the level Portland is, on those other cities. There are, and I am part of large demonstrations there. The next one coming up is No Kings. That is going to be very, very big. A lot of times these demonstrations begin or end around Congo Square, because that is like the communal meeting spot of whites, African Americans, Native Americans. And what you do is go out into the community. Now, ICE hasn't yet landed, to my knowledge, in New Orleans in the same way. And I personally wonder how and if it is going to happen in New Orleans. New Orleans has the reputation of a place where you can go and have a good time. The powers that be may want to keep it as such, some place where they can go and maybe put down their godliness for a little bit. I'm thinking of Handmaid's Tale now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of the rooms that you could go to. And this is just personal. What the hell? They may hold New Orleans as that, as more of an
Mm-hmm.
open city, because we're part of the United States of America, of course, and there's a lot of the French heritage and there's a lot of the Caribbean heritage there too. But we're not experiencing the same. And if it does come to that, I would hope that we respond with the same integrity that I'm seeing in Chicago and in Portland. And we will probably have the kind of costumes that they have in Portland for that also. I hope that answers the question.
I think you have. Thank you very much. And if people want to come down and see you in New Orleans, where should they be going?
I am buy local. I am in New Orleans and I am in Ohio due to the storms and that, and me pushing 80 years. Man, I am not going to put up any more of those boards on the window and take them down. We lost one house completely, partial another house. Katrina, of course, wiped us out. And then after that, some of the other storms. So I am buy local at this point. I would go to the Voodoo Spiritual Temple on Rampart Street. Mambo Miriam, Priestess Miriam, is, as I said, for 30 years, yeah. And she's heart. She is the heart of the tradition. And Dr. John, if you go into New Orleans, listen to Dr. John's music, because that catches the spirit of New Orleans. And Dr. John, or Mac Rebenak, that's his temple. That is where he goes. That is in many ways his spiritual home. And wonderful thing. Now he has passed, of course, just Grammy winner, the music just amazing. I remember being at a ritual. It's a Thursday night ritual, and he comes in just like someone else, sits down next to me. I'm drumming, and he takes out his keys and plays them. This great musician, you know. He's got the soul. He's a big part of the soul of New Orleans. And to sit there and just play his keys along with, you know, these people playing. And then afterwards, someone says, "Hey, I heard Dr. John was here. I didn't see him." I said, "He was just sitting there in blue jeans." He's part of he was, and is in many ways part of the congregation. And I honor him greatly. He was part of a parade. I remember that. And in the parade, he, afterwards, in a little private kind of situation, he said, "This is the first time I could hold the gay days and the barons in my head at the same time." I couldn't do that. He could do that during the parade. So listen to his music and you get a sense of New Orleans spirituality and New Orleans culture before you come down and come to the Voodoo Spiritual Temple.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here with us. And continue on with us at the Pagan World Congress. There'll be more to come. And you'll be able to pick this up later on the site that we have.
Okay, wonderful. So that is pretty much what I have to say right there. And what it boils down to is, in order to keep our traditions relevant. Now, there's an eternal relevance that's there. It's eternal. Some of the rituals are eternal. To keep it relevant, to emphasize those rituals, those Loa, those spirits, those gods, those goddesses that speak to this time, to speak to the challenges, to the concerns, to the problems of this time. And as far as I can see, it's coming from authoritarianism. It's coming from intolerance. What deities speak directly to those? So what I'd like to do now is just show, as an example, some of the Loa, if we've got time, maybe 3 of them, that can provide an antidote to some of the concerns, the problems I'm seeing right now with people. And, well, we were just talking about Dr. John. Let's start out with Dr. John. Dr. John Martinie, a Black man in the 1800s in New Orleans, who built up a great deal of wealth and did a lot of things that were of benefit to the community, and some things that weren't. Did a lot of things that were of benefit to the community. Okay. He's a Black man who was able to thrive in the 1800s in New Orleans. And he's able to, as one who is able to thrive in that situation, if someone were to come and say they're a government worker, because in the United States of America, the government is shut down right now when people are going like, how the hell am I going to feed my family? Some women are saying that, some men are saying that, how am I going to feed my family? And a lot of them has been fired too by the present administration. If they come, it would be good to provide an antidote to that. Maybe that would allow one to thrive in very difficult situations. Because as a Black man in the 1800s, even in New Orleans, it wasn't a good situation. And he was thriving. He at one point was a very rich man in New Orleans at that point, where all the Paris fashions and all this stuff. Yeah. Okay. So, Dr. John, let's call Dr. John. A lot of our tradition, a lot of drumming. Drums are sacred. To a drummer, to a temple drummer, to a voodoo temple drummer. The drum is an altar. It's an altar. And it's got a head, it's got a body, and it's got a mouth. And just like me or anyone else, dress the head, put stuff on it, to honor it. Feed the mouth, with energy. Dress the body. And there's a whole ceremony where you dress the drum out, you put it out, you let it sit overnight, all dressed up and fed and everything, just to strengthen its voice. And what you can do with it is call the Loa, or to call, in this point, Dr. John. So let me play a little bit to Dr. John. Okay. Dr. John, he can be of great help. He can be an antidote, act as an antidote to the problems of this time, particularly, say, government workers that have lost their job. To thrive. There's a certain energy, there is a certain ongoing energy, a certain willingness to engage with the present moment that you can get from working with Dr. John. Okay. That is one right there. Another kind of situation. Another kind of situation would be Mammy Waters. And Mammy Waters, in this aspect, and she has a lot of different aspects. She's got a lot of different aspects in terms of the tradition. One of the aspects in New Orleans voodoo is the Great Sea. The Great Sea that is the Great Mother. And I was just a couple days ago, some bi-local, I was down in New Orleans. I was down and there was this beautiful ceremony on the Gulf with Priestess Miriam, Voodoo Spiritual Temple, and that. Stood on the shore. The waves came in over our feet to cleanse. It was the Great Mother washing her children, cleansing them, calming them. What does that mean right now? Right now, what we have is people that doom scroll, that term, I have done it. I've done it in the past. I don't do it now. I've done it in the past. And there's a lot of tension from that. And a lot of emotional suffering that come from that. Now, Mammy Waters can act as an antidote in terms of honoring, being initiated into her presence, being initiated into her presence, personally, in a group, however it happens. She can act as an antidote. She can bring peace. The Great Mother can bring peace. The ceremony was very beautiful. I'm standing there with Priestess Miriam, and vast, the gulf before us, all that water, to the horizon, the Great Mother. The waves came in, and it just became very real to me that the waves are her children. The waves are her children. She comforts them. They're created out of her body, out of her depth. And they share the essence. They share the material. They share the structure of her depth. The waves come up, one after another. Her children come up, are born, one after another. And then, when they hit the shore, they go back into the mother. How beautiful. How beautiful. To be reborn again in the womb of the great sea. And that something is a great analogy for us. And a great calming. I'll do the rhythm to Mammy Waters. It's very quiet. It's very calming. And if someone comes to you, if someone comes to us, or if someone comes to you, what deity in your pantheon is able to provide this? We all have those deities. We all have those deities in our pantheons. And the rhythm is a mirroring of the waves. Dot, 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 dot. Waves coming in from the Great Mother. Dot, 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 dot. When they hit the shore and go back into the womb. It's an antidote. It's an antidote for the tension that we're all feeling now. So here it is. Mammy Waters. Many waters. Yeah. Whole different feeling. Whole different feeling. A whole different antidote for whatever it is that is causing the tension for a person in this time. If someone comes in, again, if someone comes in and, I wake up and I'm doom scrolling, I think about it all day long. Be a good deity. It's a good deity to introduce them to the presence of through initiation. Initiation, I like it. It means beginning, to initiate, to begin something, to begin a relationship, to introduce the person to your friend being the Loa, your friend being the deity, to introduce the two, to bring them into relationship. And third one, this is very special New Orleans. This is Annie Christmas, who is as far as I know, a unique New Orleans Loa. And she is a Black woman that has all the attributes and more of Paul Bunyan, her own a steamboat captain, of this, of that, owner of a bar. Something just great energy. The kind of energy that moves out to confront and embrace the enemy, whatever that enemy is. If that enemy is intolerance, to move out and confront it. Not just confront, to embrace it. And in the embrace, to impregnate it with a little bit of heart. And one of the main, really beautiful stories. Strength. Yeah, she is strength. And as strength, I remember a story. It was after Katrina, when the city was destroyed. I'm down there, and it's like government workers are there in hazmat suits, full hazmat suits, and I'm walking around, and it's like, oh God, should I be breathing this? Went to Cafe Du Monde. And got beignets and cafe au lait and that, and went out and said, this tastes sweet. And I thought, oh, it's full of disinfectant. The city was in bad shape. There were corpses on the street, just laying there covered over. And I was on Magazine, walking down one of the streets, Magazine Street, walking down, and there was a group of women on the other side. And they had 2 or 3 babies with them. There was about 4 or 5 women. And then all of a sudden, between us, I'm on one side, they're on the other, a pack of wild dogs comes down the middle of the street. Now, they haven't been fed. They survived Katrina, the great hurricane. They survived, and they hadn't been fed. And I thought, oh, man, here we go. And what the women did was hand the babies to one of them, picked up 2x4s laying all over the place, wood laying all over the place, and went, yelled, and charged the dogs right at them. Charged right at the pack of dogs. The dogs went, literally, oh shit, and went back. That to me is the energy. Of Annie Christmas. Yeah. Okay. So let me play that and hopefully call a bit of her essence. Christmas. Strength, strength, strength. That whatever it was, whatever you want to call it, it came into that group of women that helped them, caused them to put the babies, give it to one woman, pick up the sticks and run directly toward the pack of dogs, directly toward the pack of dogs. Okay. Okay. That, what I wanted to do is give a little taste of what it would look like in our tradition to address the problems of this time. And really talking about the relevancy of our practice, the relevancy. And I think you could look at it two different ways. There's the eternal, and then there's the immediate. The eternal is going to be there. I mean, we all have deities that are eternally relevant in our traditions, in our individual traditions. And we have deities that can be more immediately relevant. And I think that to keep the relevancy, you need both. You need that eternal, and you also need how we're going to face, how we're going to cope with what we're dealing with today, what the congregation is dealing with today. Okay. And for me, one thing that's really important that is like a salve or an antidote for me in these times, when I hear of the brutality that seems to be so extant now in this country and in other countries, the authoritarianism and the intolerance. When I see examples of that, say a protester that is beaten on the street, I can concentrate, I can feed into that brutality by focusing on it, paying strict attention to it. Or I can focus on and feed from and feed on the bravery of the protester that put herself or himself out there. And my choice is to concentrate on the bravery. That makes me bigger. I feel bigger. I feel able to act. I feel able to confront. I feel able to deal with when I do that. And I think the powers that be would rather have me and you concentrate on the brutality, because that just leads to fear and a holding up, a holding back. So I want to say that this presentation was inspired by Michael and all those who protest in Chicago, friends, close friends. And that if for any reason you want to get a hold of me, be very nice. I'd love to talk to you. Yeah, people from different traditions. I think it's what this is all about, is bringing us together. You can write me at Louis Martinie. It's LouisMartinie @gmail.com. LouisMartinie @gmail.com. Or Black Moon Publishing. Just look up Black Moon Publishing, and there's a place there to contact, and it'll come to me. So I want to thank everyone and offer gratitude, particularly to the organizers that have made this kind of thing possible. Okay, thank you so much. And I believe we're complete with the presentation.